Welcome back, everybody. This is episode 2 of the Elevate Water Polo Show on 216, brought to you by SuperSport Schools and supported by our 2 amazing sponsors, Odin and Momentum. Back in studio with my 2 favourites, Delane Mentor and Lwazi Madi, both very well-respected experts in the field of water polo. Great to have you guys back. So excited to be continuing what we started last episode, and great to be back with you. So let's dive right in. We've had the season started. We're into it. We're in the swing. St Anne's tournament. We're going to go there first. So obviously, everyone knows St Anne's, a great boarding school in the KZN Midlands. Delane, do you want to kick us off? Tell us about St Anne's, the history of water polo there, what makes it a special place to play water polo, and anything St Anne's.
Yes, sure. Good to be back. So exciting. About St Anne's, so I think this was the 19th edition of this tournament, which is huge. So it's obviously held a long history. Some great players coming out of that school. They've done well to grow that program. I know Megan Celino was there before she moved to St Stithians. So, I mean, Emma Thornton, who played NGC for us last year, she went to St Anne's. The Thornton Dibb sisters, not to be confused. Emma will hold us to that one. Annie, who's long history in the women's water polo game. She's given a lot back to the sport. They're from there. The St Anne's side, packed with provincial players, just a nice group of young athletes that I can just see growing in the sport. Also, just a fun tournament, just getting all the schools together on one campus, staying together. The vibe is good. The coach's vibe is good. I think just it's a great tournament to be a part of. And last year at this tournament, they had that huge snow in. I don't know if you guys remember, we were in Spain, very sunny, and then hearing what's happening back there. But a highlight for me for St Anne's this year is that, players have just come back from NGC in Spain with Elevate Water Polo, like Jenna Blau for St Mary's, Kada Masetla for St Stithians. So it's really nice to have seen those players come out of the, master classes in Spain, NGC tournament, and then coming back and performing at this year's St Anne's tournament. So that is a big highlight for me to watch them and just to see them dominating. That was very cool for me.
Yeah, that's exactly what we want. We want to give these players international exposure with these trips to Barcelona and other tours around the world to try and do exactly that, so they can come back and feel more accomplished, more confident in their skills, and perform at these tournaments, which is so great to see. And great to...
Yeah, just another athlete also that played this weekend that was absolutely phenomenal. And also a good mention to Lwazi is Carla Lamper for Herschel. She's been part of the NGC program, the squad, all year. She hasn't missed an Elevate camp. Lwazi's been taking her for some sessions. Watching her grow has been phenomenal. So I have to give a shout out to Carla. Fantastic, and well done to her on a great tournament.
Absolutely. I'll totally endorse that. Lwazi, we've had the boys have certainly kicked off as well. Some of the tournaments a bit closer to where you're based at Bishops. We've had the Rondebosch Under-14 tournament. Your thoughts on that tournament? It's a fairly new tournament, I believe.
Absolutely, thanks. Yeah, no, the tournament hasn't been around for a very long time. But the stature and the magnitude of the competition has just grown more and more over the years. And I think Etienne Leroux has done a really good job since taking over the Rondebosch program there. He really made it more fun, and it was really great to see a lot of kids having fun. There was obviously tournament teams that from last year were being chosen by the coaches, so you could pick a player from each team and make your tournament team. So it was really nice. And the competition's just been growing. Notably, the Under-13 Rondebosch team actually go a level up and they compete, and it's really great to see them holding their own against some of the older boys and some of the boys that they might have played with if they were good enough to play when they were in grade 6 and their other kids were in grade 7. So, very exciting weekend of water polo. There was also the Ian Melia competition as well that ran concurrently at the exact same time. That's the more prestigious tournaments between the two. And some very exciting polo has been played over that weekend.
Yeah, awesome. You mentioned the step up. I think in boys water polo development between 14 and 15 is huge. So you're right. And obviously the Ian Melia Cup, honouring the great man, Ian, the referee and player back in his day. He obviously was one of the first South African water polo people to be represented at the Olympics. He went to referee at Sydney in 2000. So obviously great to see him being acknowledged by Weinberg and the school and that kind of thing. You went, I'm going to go back to Rondebosch, the under-14 tournament. You've seen Etienne obviously, grew up in Johannesburg, spent a long, successful career at several Joburg schools, finishing off at St. Stithians. But the impact that he's made at Rondebosch has been significant as well. I mean, I see all sorts of changes happening there. The pool was heated really early and that kind of thing. So it just shows, to the viewers out there, we rely on champions to run our sport, right? And we rely on people like Etienne and many others who are kind of taking our game forward, who are helping us lift the standards of the sport. And I think that's, we should acknowledge them and really call them out. Also, don't want to brush past the Hilton Under-14 tournament, obviously in the Midlands as well. An important tournament. I mean, really great to see those really strong, talented kids coming into those Midlands boarding schools, and almost creating a new province from the junior setup where you have, more the KZN central schools or the coastal schools as they call them, but into high schools you almost have a new province developing in KZN. So your thoughts of, the Hilton Under-14 tournament, did you ever play it? Tell us a bit about your thoughts on Hilton.
Well, the competition didn't exist back in my day. Under 14, we just had the Ken Shaw tournament, which happens at the beginning of the year, that still runs up at Jeppe. But it's been an absolutely incredible tournament, one of the most highly spoken about, I think, in the Under 14 calendar. A lot of boys coming back and really complimenting the organization. And what kids really love about it is that everyone stays on the same campus. So it's just easily accessible. There's events that happen there. So it's a little bit different from your regular tournaments. Obviously, everyone has to travel, which is great. And I think it's also great, as you said, like for the Midlands teams to show how much they've grown into the sport. Hilton had a great start of the season in term 1, where they won all their games and drew to Bishops at the Ken Shaw tournament. And Michael House as well, doing really well, building their program from the bottom up, having a very strong under-14 age group. So it's great to see them coming up and building themselves up, even though they're so far away from where everyone else is. So it's great to see their polo program flourishing.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've benefited from in the NGC setup. We've had Matt Hayes and Stefan Swart last year in the NGC last year, and this year we've got Mael Herber. So great to see Hilton College and the Midlands itself producing great players. We've obviously got Ines Letchett and Maggie Matthews, who played in the BSC tournament, the Barcelona Cup tournament, also from the Midlands, from St Anne's. So really wonderful to see the Midlands water polo alive and well, and credit to Paul Martin and all the Cameron and all the coaches that are coaching in that area for what they're doing for the sport in that area. Then let's go to Clifton. Obviously another Leroux brother back in the mix. Great to have Pierre Leroux back in South Africa after his time abroad in New Zealand, and I'm sure he's brought back a whole lot of new perspectives from having time abroad. Delaney, you've coached in that region of the world, right? In the Pan
Pan-Pacific Games
Pacific,
with Pierre actually, and Lee Keat at the time, now Stuart. It was the three of us as a coaching staff, and it was fantastic. It is also nice to have Pierre back to share all that knowledge. I think he's a great, fantastic coach, and just like Etienne, like you said, we have great people championing the game, and that's important. And I've always absolutely loved that Clifton tournament. It's such a nice benchmark for boys water polo, where they can compare themselves. Also traveling in from everywhere around the country, heading down to Durban to kind of just showcase what your team can do, before the matrics head out. I think that's a great tournament. Also just away from where tournaments centrally, or where they happen centrally, like your Johannesburg, your Cape Town. It's nice to actually move polo that side, and it's such a nice warm environment, I think, quite literally. So it's a nice little tournament, and nice to have Pierre back as well.
Yeah, great to have Pierre back. As you think back, I know you play with Downsy, Nick Downs in the Sax Old Boys team, but Clifton have got a very, very strong reputation of delivering really superb water polo players. Dane Jagger, Franco Conversano, just to name a few.
Yes.
And that facility for me it's always got a special place in my heart. We won a Currie Cup there in 2007. So yeah, I think
We had some Olympic camps there.
Exactly.
Yes.
So Clifton has been, doing more than their fair share of supporting with the facility, with the
Absolutely.
expertise, with the coaches and that kind of thing. So really, really cool to see them back. Have you got any special memories from Clifton?
Sure, that's actually probably one of my favorite competitions that I can think back at school. Clifton obviously being so dominant over the years as they've hosted this competition and just really showing the level of composure that you really would want to have as a schoolboy side. So it was really great always being able to match at them. And as you said, that pool is just iconic. I think that was the first time all of us saw a long course pool in real life. And I think that really showed us how difficult it is to play in those bigger pools and be as fit as you can. So this is a real testament for Clifton, who were really strong with their counter-attacking games, to be more specific. And as you said, having great goalkeepers. We obviously had Isa Rue as well coming in for the BSc, as well as Daniel Northard, who also played at the BSc, both Clifton boys in grade 10. So you can clearly see that they're still producing these high-level athletes.
Absolutely, yeah. We definitely are appreciating what they're doing. And it's strategically also an important, a venue, so to speak. With Kings Park now under renovation, there's a lot of demand for pool time and for tournaments to be hosted, and the guys at Clifton just do a fantastic job of that. So yeah, Delaney, any special memories from Durban? Maybe not from Clifton, Durban in general, tournaments there?
Durban in general, yes. I think my first ever time coaching nationally was in Durban. I coached a corner side. I think it was like a development team. And then watching those players then go in, not into development teams, into like national A sides was fantastic for me. Actually, going back to Clifton, you asked me, the first thing you did, you said, do you have any memories on, not maybe Clifton, but Durban? I have my first ever national senior women's camp. Or it might have been under 18. I was youngster, like 15, heading into my first camp. And I had my first encounter at the camp swimming next to Kelly Stevens at the time from KZN. And as she swam, she went like elbow back in my head, and I like stopped and got out and I said, she hurt my head. And I'll never forget one of the selectors, I think Bob's at the time, fantastic woman and such an iconic water polo player for this country. She turned back to me and she went, maybe you shouldn't be that far behind her on the swim. Maybe if you were next to her, you wouldn't have gotten the elbow. And that stuck with me forever. I was like, you better keep up. I'm not getting another elbow, to the head. So yeah, some good memories in Durban for water polo for me.
Yeah, spot on, Bobs, as always. Well done. Yeah, great to kind of share with you as we kind of end off segment one, just some of the people who are contributing to our wonderful game in KZN and KZN Midlands. Certainly right up there with the best. In the next segment, we're going to feature some of the outbound trips that we had during the year, so stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody, to episode 2 of the Elevate Water Polo Show on 216. Proudly brought to you by Odin and Momentum. Great to be back. In this segment, we're going to be talking about some of the outbound tours that we've been on. One thing I think which, as South Africans, we are privileged to have done is we have a lot of outbound tours. Obviously, our geography means that we need to go and play good water polo. So let's just chat about. We're going to chat about a couple of things. Obviously, the SA teams that went abroad this winter. So we're going to go through them one by one. Let's start with the first one. Was the SA Under-20 or the Junior World Championships, which was held in Croatia. Obviously, Croatia, a huge water polo country, just such a proud country, and I think one of the most special things has to be along the coastline, all those little sea pools. Have you ever had the privilege of going to Croatia?
I have, actually. I went on a school tour there in, I think it was 2012. We did the combined Montenegro-Croatia tour. So I think a lot of coaches now taking their kids overseas will definitely know what that's all about. And it's such a special moment when you touch down in those places, because you really get to see the heartbeats of water polo that live along the coastlines. I think I remember first taking a walk down the coast and just seeing how there were so many different games, and there were mini games, and it was just, that's what water polo is about. It's that simplistic style of water polo, not overcomplicating it. So it was really something special for me to see.
That's amazing. Yeah, as you say, such a key water polo country. I saw a map the other day of saying all the Olympic gold medals that have ever been won since whenever from the water polo men's Olympics has been all concentrated in like a 300-kilometer radius,
Yes,
and
so that as well, yeah.
including Croatia and Hungary and all those
Very
kind of things.
cool.
Amazing.
But the Junior World Champs, a great tournament. Just such a special one for you as a player to have, been acknowledged at that post-school level. I think that's really important. I think a key one in the development of an athlete is just to have that after-school exposure, and it's wonderful that our teams got to go. So the men finished 15th out of 16th. I think this was kind of the theme for the winter, to be honest. That was kind of the positions we were occupying. Lawaz, I'm going to go to you. Some guys you're obviously extremely familiar with. I think were probably the standout players for us. Tim Young, who plays in your Bishops team. Guys you're familiar with, Nathan Jacob, who you've coached as well from KZN. Karabo Mamrangani he's playing currently at UCT, but obviously a Joburg boy, and Mark Smith as well, a Cincinnati boy. So can you give us some insights into those players and what you've seen and any thoughts?
Yeah, they're all great players, Dunks. Very great human beings as well. They're so hardworking. It's really nice to see. They're the type of players you want to mold yourself as if you're a young player growing up, because they take every aspect of the game extremely seriously. One of the first people to arrive, one of the last people to leave, always concentrating on the stretching and the activation part of things, always doing a proper swim before and afterwards, after their session as well, to get that cool down in. So yeah, they really are really positive role models that young kids should really be looking to emulate. And yeah, just really lucky to have Garabo and Mark both coaching at Bishops.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Nice to see you've recruited well by the looks of things.
Yeah.
and that game, obviously, always nice. We've been to World Champs. We've all been there, and it's tough going when you're playing against the world best, but really cool for those guys to have won the penalty shootout against New Zealand to claim 15th spot. And yeah, always nice to end a World Championship on a high. And I think that was the Instagram post that Sports Minister Mackenzie kind of picked up on, saying, really proud of what they've done. So that's great. All these small wins, we need to do better. We need to look back at how we're doing. That was an important tournament. And then we went to Singapore, obviously the World Aquatics Championships, which is just a special event. You guys have both been to several of those. Any thoughts on a World Champs, Delane? Maybe over to you first.
So, I mean, for senior players, especially for us, like that's what you look forward to. That's your pinnacle, right? Obviously, Olympics is there, and it's the dream. And for South Africa, we've only been once, but for national senior players, World Champs is what we look forward to. It is a fantastic tournament, and it's just a chance to kind of compare yourself and where you are as a player, not necessarily our team. Yes, one day we can say we're competing right there and we punching where we need to, but right now as a player and as individuals, I think it's good for our national and senior national players to kind of see as individuals, where am I? Am I on par? Am I right there? Like, I think for them, it's really like trying to reach those individual like milestones, and also just growing game by game. We did see it. We did see our teams grow, in their games and stuff, which is positive, and we have to look at those things. And again, it's what our players are working towards, and so I think just working harder for our next one, looking to start preparations early, really getting that team cohesion together. So much positivity to look forward to for the next World Champs.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you mentioned preparation, which is well documented on things that we need to do better, and I think that's that's the important piece. But I think it was for all those players who had the privilege of going. I think
Absolutely.
It was definitely a great developmental experience for them. The ladies finishing 15th, beating Singapore in their final game, and the men's unfortunately succumbing to Singapore to finish 16th in the tournament. And then much more recently in Brazil, the SA Under-20 ladies were in the Junior World Championship in Brazil. Any thoughts on that from your side, Delane?
For me, it's always very proud to see players like a Hannah Banks, competing at that level. And I can't say compete because she really does work hard to be there. Also, like you mentioned with the men, like really great role model to look at, and someone that you want to aspire to be like. You know, I think she's had back-to-back tours. SA Under-20, SA Women's Team. She's going to, she's just actually come back from NGC with us in Spain, and then heading off to Germany because she's going to play for a club there, which is fantastic. You know, so looking at players like that, you know, very proud of them for stepping up. A lot of our, which for Elevate, when I say our, NGC Women from 2024 was part of that SA Under-20 side, you know, so it's very nice. Jenna, just help me with her surname. No, Jenna Crawford, #1 player.
Oh, yes, Van den Bosch.
Van den Bosch, yes. She was in that team. Tyra Penny, you know, such good NGC players who got that experience at NGC and then going to put it to work at SA Under-20. So yeah, I'm very proud of those ladies that were part of our group.
And you mentioned Hannah Banks. She was, I think, player of the match in the final match there. I think she scored 5 goals, 3, 4, 5 goals. So well done to Hannah. You mentioned some of the trips that we've been doing to Barcelona. So Lawaz, probably to you first. The Barcelona Summer Cup in June. Share some thoughts on how that went and you know what that contributed to the mix.
Happy to, thanks. So this was the inaugural Summer Cup that was taking place, and that was in Lorette de Mar. So it was the first time Elevate had the opportunity to send both under-16 boys and girls to compete in this tournament. And boy, what a tournament it was. It was really, really well run, and it was so nice to see teams from other countries, as well as a lot of teams around Spain in that Catalonia area really vying for that competition and that prize. It was such a special moment for me, being part of the coaching staff, to end up getting the win there in that competition. I think the boys really did put their hands up, and they were so hungry for the competition. Players like Noah Ryback, James Swart, Isa Rue, Adam Brown really stepped up to the plate for us and really delivered some very impressive performances there. And most notably, looking at some of the younger players like Caleb Levy as well, who just went and played at the Winter Series that was held in PE. So it's really nice to see how these kids are really trying to push passion, and you know they see the benefits of having programs like Elevate. You know, the women's team also doing really well over there, really putting in some good, solid performances against some of the very strong local teams there, especially a team from Australia. I think they were called the Mermaids, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, really impressing, not just us as coaches, but all of the outside coaches as well from Spain. So yeah, we're just really happy to be there and looking forward to going back in the new year next year.
Yeah, amazing. And as we reflect back on that tour, shout out to Affies, Christopher Jans van Vieren. He had a brilliant tournament, really stepped up on the map. And great to see Affies, you know, delivering top talent, which is awesome to see. Delane, your second time at Next Gen Cup in Barcelona. Your thoughts on that trip?
Oh, fantastic. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better destination, you know. I think for Luwazi, what's that, 2 in 1 year? Yeah. It's insane. And I mean, it's such a welcoming atmosphere from the hosts and the organizers. The masterclasses for me is just an absolute standout. It's something that I look forward to, from last year to this year, and they didn't disappoint. I mean, the way they focus on fundamentals and fine tuning and decision making again, and just really focusing in on the little important details that help elevate your game. Excuse the pun there, but they really do. But yeah, so for me, masterclasses as always just an absolute standout. The way they welcome us, the actual experience completely, the way the boys and girls teams come together. It's just, just the vibe is just unreal. And I think for players, they really should aspire to try and make these teams to experience this. I mean, you're playing teams from all around the world. We've got the American team, you've got teams from Spain, outside Spain. It's just absolutely one of the best tournaments I've been to in terms of competitiveness, and then also just, again, the destination, the organization, and then just the gees of it all.
Yeah, and I love the way you see when we go on those Beeper Cup trips, you mentioned the masterclasses, that you see how quickly players develop over the week. You arrive on a Sunday, and by the Wednesday, you're just seeing such a more mature player who's just kind of almost like they've just got it.
Yes.
And that, the experience at Montjuic, the most beautiful, platform,
really.
most beautiful
Yes.
public pool that you've ever seen in your life.
Yes.
So very special.
Dang, sorry to interrupt there. Just going back, like you said, how those players develop, I think that's what those like scrimmage games do as well for us when we're at NGC. The master classes and the scrimmage games is that we use it to see where we are. So like what we have to offer before heading into the tournament, and then what we can improve on. Like it's a huge, like for a coach, it's like one of the best preparation you can have. I'm just thinking back for me as a player in a national team, like I never had that. I never had those days before. Maybe one day, like a cool down swim after a long flight, but not that, that exposure of actually having a training camp and having coaches coming and work with us. The difference is huge for players. And I think, again, something that Elevate is doing 100% right.
Yeah, and you mentioned, that's what you're trying to do, right? You're trying to just join the dots for people, give them opportunities. You mentioned the winter series,
Resources.
that you can come off one tour and know that your next tour or your next opportunity is not too far in line. If we start doing that for players, the progression will surely come, and that's what we're all trying to do. So great, thanks for sharing your insights on the outbound tours. So we're going to go away for some commercial breaks, but when we get back, we're going to have two very special guests who are going to join us. They're going to tell us about how their experience was in Barcelona. So stay tuned.
And welcome back to Channel 216. This is the Elevate Water Polo Show. Today I've got two special guests here joining Delane and I. We have Kira Holland and Cabo Mayema. Okay, these two joined us at the BSC Elevate Water Polo competition in Spain. So yeah, please introduce yourself. We'll start with Kira.
My name's Kira Holland and I go to St. Stithians Girls College and I play first team at Saints.
Yeah, and?
My name's Cabo Mayema. I'm the St. Stithians first team goalkeeper and I've been playing for 4 years now.
Look at you guys.
Look at you, yeah, literally look at you guys. So a little bit biased here, but Saints does have one of the top programs. Speaking from experience, I played there many years ago. So just talk to us about like St. Stithians Polo currently. What do you guys look forward to when you play for St. Stithians? What does it mean to play for St. Stithians? And Job, as well, chat us about how you got into water polo.
Okay, well, I definitely started my whole water polo experience at Saints with Mr. LaRue back in the day at Water Warriors. And I think something that I definitely look forward to, like during the season at school, going to school polo, something that gives me motivation is definitely my teammates, like 100%. And my coaches, they just make it so much, like I just enjoy going. I love laughing, like I love talking. I love learning new things because Coach Megs is always teaching us new things and always getting me like excited to come back to like always have that thrive for polo. And that's why I love going to Saints and like playing for Saints polo.
Yeah.
My like initial start of water polo was with Mr. LaRue as well. And I feel like ever since then, it's kind of just been like the bonds I've created and like the friends I've made, because everything I do now revolves around my team. And like we've just created such a family that everything we do is just around each other, and like the way that we just think is just so like polo related, and everything like is so like heartfelt to all of us as well.
Love that. Absolutely love that. Just also touching on Luwazi and your Saints stories is that St. Stithians has produced some amazing water polo players. The likes of Leila Fernandez from way back, and for me, one of the best players that I've seen grow and develop in this country is from St. Stithians, and that's Jordan Wedderburn. She was the captain for my SA ladies side at the Tokyo Olympics, and she was only 18 years old, and she's currently playing in the US and has been for the last couple of years, and just an outstanding, phenomenal play. So you guys have big shoes to fill there, and I have no doubt that you're doing that. if you don't mind, but also you guys mentioned that you love going there because of your, the team aspect and like the whole family vibe that you get from your team. I also saw that when you guys went away now with the Elevate team, that you guys created such a brilliant team vibe within your group. Tell me, how does that, your team culture, impact your performance as players for either one of you?
I think that the way that your team bonds together makes a huge difference into how you play. Because if you're having a down moment in a game, you always know that you have the other 14, 13 people in your team to back you up and to tell you that you do have a reason to be in this team and perform the way that you always perform.
Yeah, and I think definitely when we were in Spain and at Elevate, we didn't know each other, we knew each other from playing against each other, and we kind of just came together. We built this bond. We were we're going to take all of this in. We're just going to have the best moments. When we were in the pool playing, you were laughing, or you're okay, no, that's fine. Let's pick each other up and keep on going. And I definitely think Coach Hannah and Coach Megs definitely made a big impact with helping us and creating that bond.
Absolutely. And, as you guys were speaking about Spain and the tour itself, can you please elaborate a little bit more on what you guys learned, what it meant playing at that level? I don't know if you girls have played in a level higher than that before, but tell us about key things that you saw when you went to Spain. Maybe speak about the professionalisms of the teams, or just speak about the level of competition and what you felt was so different from South African sport.
I think that there's so many more, there's a lot of opportunities for all the players, and being able to play against all the other teams and know that they have, in Spain, there's so many different teams coming in. And when we were there, we played some US teams and the Australian team and stuff like that. It really showed the difference in polo that we have, and it just wants us to work harder and learn a lot more about polo. And I think one thing that I definitely learned a lot was that communication is definitely key in the pool, and it teaches you a lot in terms of your gameplay and how your whole team will function together.
Oh, I learned so much at Spain. I think that's one of my best tours ever in my whole life. And it's definitely the highest level of polo I've ever gotten to. And I'll keep on striving for to get those experiences. And I'm so grateful that my parents could put me to do all of these things. But I definitely learned to embrace the unknown. I got there and it wasn't South African polo. It was fast, it was speedy, the shots were powerful. You could have someone who's who doesn't look the strongest, but when she holds you, you're oh damn, she's
powerful.
She's strong.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And I definitely learned from the coaches there, to do a push shot, to swim, and I keep on practicing it because I one of my things I want to do in the next polo season is to do that. I practice it at polo.
Oh, I'm going to watch out for that one.
I'm still trying to get it, but I keep on working on that because that's something I've learned and I want to become better at it.
Yes, that's very cool. So I've seen both of you, and I watched those games, and I think even my mom watched those games. She was so invested, and she knows nothing. I promise you, she knows nothing. But I've seen you, Cabo, especially in really high pressure, intense moments and games. How do you keep your composure, especially at such a young age? I mean, listening to you two, I feel like they should be hosting this. Yeah. I've also seen your social media stuff. You guys, I feel like we know nothing yet.
Yeah.
But in those high pressure, intense moments, how do you keep your composure, and how do you still keep your performance right up there? Because I've seen it, and it's been phenomenal to watch.
I think one thing for me is I definitely perform my best under pressure. So, but as I've gotten older, the pressure obviously gets more and more. But one thing that's changed a lot in the past few months is when I was in Spain, Meg told me that I'm the last line of defense, and that if a goal does go through, if I tried my best and I know my defense tried their best to avoid the goal, then I should always just back myself and lift myself up at the end of the game and focus on at least 3 good things that happened in the game, whether it's my passing, my saves, or even just my spirit in the game. So that's one thing that really keeps me up throughout high pressure games and all of that.
I love that.
Oh, amazing.
Yes.
Okay, girls, now that you're back in South African soil, obviously with the water polo season fast approaching, tell us about some of the competitions that you'll both be playing in and that you're most looking forward to.
Oh, I'm definitely looking forward to Stayers because it's one.
Which Stayers is that?
Yes.
The Stayers in Joburg.
St. Stithian Stayers.
St. Stithian Stayers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we are hosting it, and it's just like a tournament where all the schools, like majority of the schools from all over the country come, and like you get to see your friends that you elevate, like the ones from KZN, from Cape Town. We all get to like come back together. We all laugh. We watch each other's games. Even though like you're playing against them, you're still like, that's your teammate. Like, and even like IPTs at the end of the year, it's one of my favorites. Those two, definitely.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree about IPTs. I think just being around the pool at like the highest like school level in the year is really like different, and it's like different to a school tour because it's you coming in with different people from different schools. Like we'll play with like the Rodine girls, Kingsmead girls, etc. And I think it's just really it creates a different bond and just allows you to like branch out as much as you want.
Love that, guys.
Yeah, and I think also what's really cool is we can't forget that there's the Durban Girls College Under 16 competition happening as well. Will you both be participating in that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. That's also, I think, such a special tournament because it's very marquee for you as under 16 players as you transition. I know you've probably already had some experience at that higher level already, but it really is that last competition that you get to play in that under 16 age group level. What are you most looking forward to about playing in that tournament?
How was that for you guys? Like, you obviously played in the same team, or you both the same age, right?
Yes.
So you guys played that tournament
Yeah.
together, which is very cool.
Yeah.
And then obviously now you're looking forward to that first team tournament. So tell us, like, what was the vibe down in Durban? Like, what was it? Tell us.
Oh, it was definitely like such a fun vibe. Like I know I miss like some of the Durban girls from Elevate because obviously you create this bond, and it was just like fun, like in the dorms, like going to each other's rooms, like you're all in like this small little like dorm, but like you make the best memories there. Like I love that tournament.
Awesome.
And I think for me, it was about cherishing every last moment because it's some of our last times playing together. Some girls move up to first team, and then it's like a lot of like differences, and you just learn to grow a lot in your final year. And we've been playing with each other since like under 14, some of us under 13. And it really is just about cherishing those last junior moments.
Yeah, amazing. And then lastly, before we end off this segment here, so these two girls, for those of you who don't know, went viral on our Elevates Water Polo page. They did this infamous TikTok where they found Felipe Perone. Tell us the inspiration behind that.
So when we were in Spain, we visited the club that Felipe trains at CNAB, and we kind of saw his face everywhere, and he's known for like everything to be like the GOAT in water polo. And Jono, one of the coaches on the Elevate team, definitely like inspired us to do it, and he asked who wants to do it, and Kabo and I put our hands up because we love like the camera, I guess.
Yeah.
And then you found Felipe.
Yes.
On South African soil?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome, guys.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a really cool experience. We really enjoyed it. It was different.
Oh, well, thank you both for joining us so much. It's been such a pleasure getting to hear your side of the story and also just what you're looking forward to and all these past tournaments. And we'll be right back after the break where Duncan will be joining us.
Welcome back, everybody. This is the final part of episode 2. We've loved being here with you, and we've had some great guests, and we've had some great conversation. So in this final bit, we are going to talk a little bit about what's coming up. We're going to preview some of the big events that are going to be coming up over the next few weeks. But before we do that, we're going to do what, as we do every week, we're going to talk a little bit about some key moments where we acknowledge our sponsors, Odin and Momentum. So Delane, over to you. Momentum moment of the week.
My momentum moment of the week, it might not be this week, but it has stood out in my brain. And I think going into the season, I think it's a memorable one. So my momentum moment is a Malika moment. This one is for Malika Amiruddin from Pinelands High School in the Western Cape. And why she is this momentum, this Momentum Week's pick is because of the SAWP Winter Series. So Malika was in the final against the Rhinos, and she scored a crucial goal in that final. It was a post, a 6-on-5, extra man goal, got the ball on post, and she finished well. And the reason why this stands out for me is because looking back at Malika's journey, so last year she was like fringe player for provincial teams, you know, like reserve, like really like just there, but not quite there yet. Called up to play for NMB. I had her in my team, so not a bias, little bit, but just I think it really comes from the hard work, because this is a player who's gone and worked so hard, and just wanting to, you know, just always striving there. Great role model from a mom, and then scored in this huge tournament, playing experienced players against great goalkeepers, and she just took the moment. And the moment isn't the goal, it's what it means. It means that she gives hope, not just for herself, but to other little girls and other girls that are going to aspire to be in Malika's position next year, playing against those senior players, against those experienced players, and just big, crucial moments that they made count. So that's for Malika.
Yeah, wonderful. Great throwback to the NMB Winter Series. Obviously, NMB standing for Nelson Mandela Bay, which is Delane's home province. What a great moment. Thanks for sharing with us. And what I love about that is the kind of the unsung heroes, as well as the smaller schools.
Yes.
Not the big muscles in the house.
They're working hard.
Yeah.
Hard work behind the scenes to further develop their program. You know, they've really started ground up, and it's headed by Tanya Maradine as well, and they've been working hard, and it just shows. And it's great that that's a product of the school and of their hard work, and I mean, look at the fruits of their labour.
Wonderful.
Absolutely.
Raz, over to you for the Odin. You want to call out the school that you want to specifically acknowledge for this week?
Absolutely, and I'm glad we're also on this theme of the smaller schools, because my school of the week must go to Woodridge. You know, I'm really excited to see what all their hard work is going to come towards. They've just sent a team over, well, their school went across to Croatia on their first overseas tour. They've been playing some really exciting polo in the development side of things. So it's going to be really interesting to see what all these efforts take them. So shout out to Darren Campbell, Dan Ward, and Iman as well for starting to run such an incredible program and seeing that the buy-in is starting to come to fruition. So yeah, just really excited, and that's my team of my school of the week.
Wonderful. And again, we were talking earlier about, you know, what an awesome country to go tour to. So for the Woodridge kids, I hope you enjoyed it, I hope you learnt lots, and hope you came back and you're ready to show your opponents what you learnt over there. Okay, let's look forward to what's coming up. So we're going to go through, we've got quite a lot coming up. Collegiate under 15. Delane, this is kind of, again, your part of the world. What's up with that tournament? What's special about that tournament? Who's looking good?
So that tournament's been around for a couple of years now, and Seko Zondani is the head of water polo at Collegiate High School, and an all-girls school in the Eastern Cape, and they host this wonderful under 15 age group tournament, and teams from all around schools from all around the country, St. Stithians, St. Mary's, they all come down to Port Elizabeth. And what's special about this tournament is that it's kind of that under 15 grade 9 last age group tournament, and it's a benchmark absolutely for the years to come. 2-3 years, those girls are going to be matric, they're going to be playing in their first team, and then they can look back and kind of measure themselves. Where were we when we played at this Collegiate Under 15 tournament? Where did we place? Because then if we place top 3, we should be boxing up there in that 2-3 years down the line. So this tournament is lovely, well managed, well run, great sponsors on board, and they really do look to highlight players. They've got Player of the Game awards after every single game. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I love that. You know, and I think for other schools watching out there, just that little bit of acknowledgement goes a very long way. So well done to them for doing that. And then you are hosting at Pearson, you are hosting the National Co-Ed Tournament. How special is that?
Oh, so special. You know, the National Co-Ed Tournament, I went to school that was a co-ed school, and it was one of our biggest tournaments of the year, and we look forward to it. And this year, we are so fortunate to have been chosen as the hosts for the National Co-Ed Tournament. I think a big part of it was that our Pearson first team boys won the National Co-Ed Tournament, the boys section last year, and our girls came third, so we were the overall, the #1 co-ed school in the country in 2024, and that's, I think, part of why we were selected. I am so excited. We are seeing 17 schools from across the country come. So we're looking at about 30, just help me with maths, it's not my strong point, clearly.
In the 30s.
Yeah, somewhere in the 30s. Coming over to us, and we're very excited. We have introduced 2 invitational sides in the VC and NMU ladies combined team to prep them for USA later this year. So that's exciting. We have Stan Gospodinov. He's coming in as my head referee for the tournament. So again, really good experience around the pool. Great water polo that's going to be showcased. And also players that played in the SAWP Winter Series, like your Roland they won the tournament. He was part of the Rhinos men's side. Michael Swart in the goals, again, part of it. So many younger players like Lucy Nagel, who was again part of the Rhinos ladies team. So again, it's just a beautiful flow of water polo this year, like players preparing in the winter, jumping into these big tournaments. And I'm excited for what's to come. Also, one last thing for Pearson is that, yes, we're hosting it, but great water polo players have come from the school. Ashley Vaughan, Jana Gerbe, Olympians who went with us to Tokyo, all come from Pearson Water Polo, have trained in that pool, and that pool's about to be showcased. So it's exciting.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Yes.
Fantastic to see the legacy coming through, and
Absolutely.
and Ashley and Jana kind of both still such active players. Jana in the US, and Ashley, one of the best ladies players over the last several years. So
Absolutely.
great to see the work that you are continuing at Pearson. So brilliant work there. We're going to still stay in the Eastern Cape. Up next, we're going to go to Selborne to the Sterrenberg Milton Gates Under 15 tournament. Selborne, obviously a school was with a huge amount of history on the all-boys school side, but thinking back to Mark Andrews, the Springbok rugby player who played great water polo at Selborne, Mike Harrison, Conan Gates, the Straydon brothers. The list of Selborne's pedigree is very long. Your thoughts about that tournament specifically, or just Selborne water polo in general?
Yeah, Selborne Polo has really a lot of strong connections to water polo, I believe. They've had the Vides tournament for as long as I can remember now, and there's been some very good water polo players that have come out of there over the years. Had Ian Donovan, who was a goalkeeper, when they won their, I think it was not the first time, but maybe one of the first times in many years that they won the Sachs tournament. So that was really special for them. Jono Cotters. So it's just to name a few players who are really talented players that came from there. Stan as well as someone who's been a coach there for many years. So lots to look forward to. And traditionally, Selborne have had very strong teams at that junior age group level. So they'll be looking to have something to say at this upcoming tournament and showcase why they are one of the top teams in the Eastern Cape. So looking forward to it. And as Elaine said earlier, this is probably the last under 15 tournament for boys where they can really just make an impact and put their name on the map there. So it's going to be some exciting polo, and I can't wait to see it myself.
Yeah, and great to be focusing on the Eastern Cape area as a whole. Buffalo City, a strong legacy, not just at Selborne, but you've got Hudson Park, Stirling, in Clarendon. So many other great water polo people from our community have come up from the Buffalo City area as well. The Keat family.
Absolutely.
Just such great contributors to our water polo community. Last but not least, the Sachs tournament was obviously a special one. Bishop's defending champions. Sachs always, for me, has got such a, it's iconic. It's been going since the late 70s, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
I remember it being one of the coldest tournaments of the year, coming down, and the weather was normally terrible and that kind of thing. But what a fantastic spectacle that's become. Share with us some of your thoughts.
Yeah, it's actually, funny enough, still known as the coldest tournament ever. I think it was last year. It was probably the first year where we didn't really have that much bad weather, so it was really abnormal, but absolutely stellar tournament. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's the oldest schoolboy tournament in the country that we have. So yeah, it's really nice to see how that's the last one for matrics to get involved in. So they really want to obviously cement their place in school's history by trying to notch their name onto that trophy. So it's going to be really exciting. Some key teams that are going to be really looking to vie for this competition. I think Sachs is really going to try and make a resurgence. They've been playing some really good polo towards the back end of term one, and I think they're going to be looking to continue with that presence as well. Rondebosch Boys High is always a strong contender as well. The likes of Noah Ryback, Luke Berger, Dante Moore, just Kieran Benowitz, just to name a few very talented players coming up there. It's also probably one of the only teams I've seen where you have 3 really good left-handers playing in the same team. So yeah, they're going to be a force to reckon with. So we're really excited for that competition. I think it's going to be a nail biter, and it could go down to anyone. Not to mention as well, you've got the St. John's and St. Stithians who did really well and came third at KES. Mike Stewart and Jason Salino really doing well to really bring that program to fruition. And yeah, I'm just excited to see what they can do as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Hilton as well did so well at the KES tournament, which, we're looking to Ubi Ace and those kind of guys coming through and doing really well in the Sax tournament. The interesting thing about Sax, obviously the short format makes it really interesting. You could come out of day one feeling really good, and day two, you're in a world of pain. So I think it's what makes the Sax tournament so special. It's exciting. You've always got great spur burgers being served, which are legendary down there. And I think the kids still stay in the boarding houses. So yeah, just really an iconic tournament, and obviously a huge pedigree as well. I mean, just look, no further than Devon Card, and the names at Sax go along. Obviously, Noah Bagara, one of their great exports, who's now playing in the US. The list is very long and such a proud school. So I wouldn't be surprised if younger brother Ben Bagara and Yandro Rocheroos and those guys start putting Sax back on the map this tournament.
Exactly. And as you mentioned about Hilton as well, they're also a strong contender for this competition. Paul Martin, obviously just starting there, and it's his first year, so he's done a really good job with that Hilton team. They're just so threatening on the counter-attack. You've got Ubi Tristan Ace really coming into play. He was the KES player of the tournament. You've got Luango, who's the goalkeeper of the tournament as well for Hilton. He's only just in grade 10. So lots of potential and lots of talent over there. Kersney as well, love to throw their name in the hat, and they've got an exceptionally strong team. So the list goes on and on and on. And as you said, with that shorter format, anything can happen. We've seen many teams pretty much get to the brink of elimination to winning the competition entirely. So it's different format, but it's probably one of the most exciting competitions we have on the calendar.
Amazing. Well, we look forward to catching you up next week. That's a wrap, guys, for episode 2. Thank you so much. Great conversation, and just so great to be taking water polo to the next level. See you soon.
Advice is never simple. Why look before you leap? If he who hesitates is lost. Live within your means is sage advice. But then, why are we encouraged to go big or go home? The value of advice is bound to your unique dreams and circumstances. Context isn't just king, it's the entire kingdom, son.